One of the biggest injustices seen in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was how it continued to disrespect one of the DCU's best characters, who was supposed to debut in the Snyderverse Justice League. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom depicted Arthur Curry's reluctant return as the King of Atlantis and newfound purpose as a father. In it, he wrestles with the heavy new responsibilities that now rest on his shoulders following his immense character growth in Aquaman. This growth saw him embrace his Atlantean heritage and the noble motive to join the surface world and Atlantis together. Aquaman did not undergo this growth without resistance, however. Despite being continuously branded half-breed and bastard by Atlantean detractors, especially his brother ORM, Arthur had a small but integral cohort fighting in his corner. Among these were his wife-to-be Mera, his queen mother Atlana, his father Tom, and his mentor, Nuidus Vulko, Vizier of Atlantis. Despite the majority of these maintaining their importance throughout Aquaman's DCU story, the DCU is particularly disrespectful to Vulko, whose noble story comes to a decidedly ignoble end. Vulko was key to Aquaman's DCU story. Nuidus Vulko is played by Willem Dafoe in the DCU, and acts as the foremost advisor to the throne of Atlantis. During his tenure, he became particularly close to Queen Atlana, who would request that Vulko secretly watch over and train Arthur following her banishment to the trench. This would transpire throughout Arthur's childhood, as seen in Aquaman, as the two met regularly on shore so that Vulko could both teach Arthur about his Atlantean heritage and destiny, as well as train him to become a formidable combatant. Despite being spurned by Arthur after divulging the truth of his mother's fate, Vulko remains loyal to the true heir to the Atlantean throne, conspiring in secret against his half-brother ORM as he loyally carried out Atlana's will. With Mera's help, Vulko would eventually convince Arthur of his destiny before Arthur's acquisition of the Trident of Atlan cemented it. Throughout Aquaman, Vulko accepted his fate upon being discovered by ORM and never wavered in his loyalty to the true heir of Atlantis. Needless to say, without Vulko's persistence and aid, Aquaman would never have embraced his potential. Though the official DCU timeline would see Vulko make his debut in Aquaman, where he would visit Arthur and set him on his destined course, this wasn't always the plan envisaged. His debut was initially planned to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League before the theatrical cut of Justice League wrote out Dafoe's part entirely. Despite this being the first interaction that Vulko had with Aquaman in years following his final training session, it was also where the disrespect for the character began. Vulko is unceremoniously killed off in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Darkseid kills Willem Dafoe's Vulko in Zack Snyder's Justice League. A scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League saw Vulko reunite with Arthur ahead of Aquaman, in which he implores the heir to take up his mother's trident and his responsibilities as the true king. Arthur is despondent at his request and turns away, but this isn't the last time that Vulko is seen on screen. The second is a brief but brutal moment as part of Cyborg's apocalyptic vision of the nightmare future in which the Justice League's failure leads to Darkseid's takeover of Earth and the death of Diana and Arthur, as well as Superman's conversion.